Alright, welcome to a third cube draft on my channel. Uh, Still doing the vintage cube. Still opening some pretty decent packs. Moxjet, it's a Mox, it's a good card. Library of Alexandria is also a good card. Other cards are in this pack. I don't think Sun Titan's too bad. Other than that, there's not really anything really high power in this pack. It's really interesting. I don't really know where I want to be with this pack. I think Moxjet is generally more useful than Library of Alexandria. Though Library of Alexandria is very good. It sort of leans you towards a slower, more controlled deck, and can give you free wins if you play it on turn 1. But I think Moxjet can be better on multiple turns in the game, and can lead you to maybe less free wins, but can really push you towards victory. So I'm going to go ahead and take that. Alright, next pack. We have a few interesting options. I like Sylvan Library. I think it's just a powerful draw effect. Gives you both card manipulation and card advantage. I like Ponder. I think really what it comes down to is what color I would like to be in. I like to be in blue, but I think Sylvan Library probably puts me in a place where I can splash it and maybe be in some sort of like blue-green deck down the line. I think this card is pretty good. Ponder's pretty good as well, is the problem. I'm going to go ahead and take Sylvan Library. It's not normally the color I'd like to be in pick 2, but you know, sometimes it's good to switch things up. Alright, so there's, again, some good cards in this pack. I like Song of the Dryads. It's a pretty mediocre card. Arbor Elf is just like any other mana dork. Indrik Stomphowler is decent in the cube. I think Jace Beleren is pretty okay. Usually draws you like 3 cards. I think I am going to take Jace. I can, you know, we can either end up splashing Library or not playing it, and I think Jace is a good signal the blue might be at least partially open. Green definitely looks open. So, I'm going to pick this. Alright, this pack, Inkwell Leviathan could put us into a either artifact deck or even like a show and tell type deck. Mystical Tutor is, well, not literally has no targets in our deck right now, but it's still sometimes okay if you're trying to play a combo deck. Scavenging Ooze I don't like at all. It's just too fair of a card, and there generally aren't a lot of creatures to be eating in the cube. Maybe it's a decent sideboard card if you're playing green. Think maybe the most interesting card in this pack for me is the Inkwell Leviathan. I can fit it into multiple archetypes. It can be a game, like a late game card in a blue-green deck, or just in an unfair deck I can tinker it or show and tell it out. So I'm going to go ahead and try and take this. Alright, so it does look like we're sort of being pushed towards a sort of big mana blue-green deck. Genesis Wave is not super impressive, as most of the things you want to get with it are, you know, also very expensive. I think Acidic Slime is pretty decent. I think Mana Confluence is a great land. I'm going to go ahead and take Mana Confluence right now, as it appears we might be splashing a few colors, and don't really know where we're at yet. Alright, this is the kind of thing I would like to see if I'm actually in a big mana deck, is Time Spiral. If I can get something like High Tide or what's it called, Heartbeat of Spring, Time Spiral can just set me up with a busted, you know, draw. So I'm going to go ahead and try and take this card, and I have the outs of being a combo deck as well. Well, I did talk about getting a Heartbeat of Spring. I think it is the best card in this pack. Fintorn Elves is also probably a decent pick, but I think the way this deck is looking, it looks to be a Heartbeat of Spring deck. Alright, and here we have a Tropical Island, which I think is exactly the kind of thing that a deck like this would want. I can get something like a High Tide, and I'm not too impressed by Final Shaman. So we're going to take Tropical Island. Once again, here I think I'm going to take something like a Wall of Blossoms. If we are being in a big mana deck, sometimes all you need is some time, and Wall of Blossoms can buy you that. On top of that, it cycles, which is always good. So, I guess now we're looking to wield that Genesis Wave now that we got this Heartbeat of Spring. Along with that, I could see maybe wanting to get, like, another color in here to splash for some things. I don't know. I'm not super impressed with this deck so far. In this pack, I'm going to take Sacred Foundry. Maybe we get some sort of fetch that makes it good, and it ends up being one of our splash colors. It opens up us up more to red or white. So this is one of the more interesting pack ones I've had in a while. Usually I don't have a Heartbeat of Spring this early. It's not usually the type of card that you want to be playing. It can lead to you dying a lot, but if you can set it up so that you can, play like an Inkwell Leviathan or an Ulamog or an Emrakul, hey, that's not bad. And those are the type of cards that we're looking to get here now that we have this Heartbeat. An Emrakul would be a great pickup. Here I'm going to go ahead and take an Arbor Elf. Our deck looks like it's going to have a lot of forests, and it is. Arbor Elf is good with Heartbeat of Spring, as a matter of fact. Blue-green ramp is not the worst place to be in the cube. Some other things I'd like to pick up are probably some counter spells. We did wield the Genesis Wave, so that's a nice one to have. Some counter spells, along with more ramp, obviously. Card draw is also very important. Like a Harmonize would be really good. Signets would be awesome. I would even accept things like Search for Tomorrow. I forget. I don't think we saw a Palinchron earlier, but a Palinchron would be good in this deck, as you can make infinite mana with things like Heartbeat of Spring. And infinite mana can go towards doing a lot of things, so. Alright, so this pack has some good cards. I think Craterhoof is a good one for this type of deck, but it probably wheels a lot of the time. Gifts Ungiven isn't the worst. Temple of Mystery, obviously the Scrylands are great, so Search for Tomorrow. I think I'm just going to take Basalt Monolith, though. It puts you from 3 up to 6 mana, which is powerful. Yeah, there's nothing too exciting in this pack. I'd like to take this Craterhoof. Hopefully it wheels around. I think it should. If Genesis Wave wheeled around it, then hopefully Craterhoof can too. So, we are in an entirely new direction for picks. So, and it looks like the guy we're passing to does have a some sort of green creature as his summoner icon. I stick with the classic Tezzeret. Alright, again, this is a pretty decent pack for us. I like Dig Through Time. I also like Garruk, Caller of Beasts. It's actually a fairly tough pick for me. I don't know what I like more in this deck. I think I like the Garruk slightly more, as it's just a thing I can play pretty proactively and can win the game on its own. So we'll go ahead and take that and be a heavier green deck as opposed to a heavier blue deck. I don't draft this archetype a lot. Oh, well, I don't draft this archetype a lot, but I do know that Rofellos is definitely the type of card we're looking for in this deck. Rofellos can just lead to some busted draws, like a turn 3 Garruk, or, it can just be busted. This guy can put you up to like 10 mana really quickly. So as much as I'd like to take this Preordain or this Venser, I'm definitely taking the Rofellos here. We're going to try and be a fairly aggressive forest deck, it seems. Nice to have this tropical island now. I wouldn't mind a breeding pool then. Definitely want to keep our forest count high in this deck. Even though if Rafellos taps for 2 mana, he's still pretty gas. Oh, Fast Bond? I think Fast Bond's a pretty good card. Villainous Wealth can be a great one as well, though. But there's a Kozilek in this pack. And I think this is the type of win con we really want. He's very feasibly castable and draws us into more win cons. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Kozilek. He's also permanent to go with Genesis Wave to Genesis Wave into. Our deck's looking pretty okay right now. As far as ramp decks go, I think this one is pretty good. I'm typically more of a fan of... Oh, Opposition could be a great pickup for us here. Assumably, we could pick up more Mana Dork creatures, which is just great with Opposition. The other options here are Primal Command or Verdant Catacombs, which Verdant Catacombs in our deck is just another dual land. But I think since we're already in the colors, I'm going to go ahead and take Opposition, which is just a way to interact with our opponent. I'm typically not as big a fan of Opposition as maybe other people are, but I think it's a very playable card. It's a little worse in the Vintage Cube than it is in the Legacy Cube, but if we pick up a couple more Mana Dorks and such, this card could be awesome for us. Alright, this is an interesting one. I don't think I want Tooth and Nail here. I do have a decent amount of big game already, and I'm sure we'll pick up more. Breeding Pool is definitely a good pick with the Rafellos. I'm trying to think if Mox Diamond is great in this deck. Mox Diamond is usually pretty good. I am, in fact, going to wheel a card out of this pack, and I don't know what I would want it to be. Frost Titan is pretty good. We could wheel Frost Titan, we could wheel Breeding Pool. I'd even be happy wheeling Tooth and Nail. So I think we have a good shot of... Yeah, we're always going to wheel something from this pack. So I'll go ahead and take the Mox Diamond just to have some mana. Alright. So there is a Natural Order, which is not quite there for us yet. So Windswept Heath, which I think is going to be my take here. It's just another Tropical Island card that is a forest. Helps our blue splash. Yeah, I'll take a Windswept Heath. Oh, now we're doing it. Awakening Zone Opposition, or Steve Opposition. Now, this is the type of pack you want to see. I think I would like to go with Awakening Zone in this case. It can, it's very flexible in that it can create an army of blockers if that's what I need it to be, or if I have opposition, it can just be absolutely bonkers. So, it's also great with Craterhoof Behemoth, which did indeed wheel. So I'm going to go ahead and take that. This pack, you know, there's not much I'm looking for here. I think it's most likely that I would end up splashing black, so I'll take the Temple of Milady. I'll go ahead and just take the Fetch Land here as another card that I'm not playing it right now, but I could, you know, you never know what could happen. And I'll take the Villainous Wealth as well. It's really nice that all these nice cards are wheeling around. This pack doesn't have much for us. I'm going to take this Edric and not have the intention of playing it. At least right now. If I pick up more Mana Dorks, I can definitely see myself taking Edric into the deck. Here we go. Is that Arid Mesa good now? Not quite yet, but we are going to take the Stomping Ground. And have this War Priest of Thune. Yeah, if we can pick up like a blue-white land or something like that, Arid Mesa becomes good. Oh, wow, what a pack. This pack basically has the nuts for us. Mana Crypt is a great card. Thragtusk is a pretty good mid-rangey card. Factor Fiction is an insane draw spell. Ulamog, I think, is one of the best creatures at its mana cost, but I think we already have enough late game. I think in this case, I'm going to go ahead and take this Mana Crypt. Maybe not even. I think maybe our deck just wants some more, another Fact or Fiction. Wow, this is just such a pack. I'm definitely taking the Mana Crypt. There's no way I can pass Mana Crypt. Yeah, hopefully we wheel something from this pack. It's just absolutely bonkers for us. Yeah, even like Time Twister in this pack is really good. So is the Karn Daddy and Gilded Lotus. I think I like Gilded Lotus the most, but I might like Karn as well. I'm just gonna take Gilded Lotus. Maybe we can actually wheel Time Twister. I would definitely play that card. The more rocks and stuff you have in your deck, the better it is. Balance, that's definitely a card I would love to see earlier. Man, we're not really a double blue deck, but Mana Drain, and I think it's one, I don't want somebody else playing it. Two, I can definitely cast it in this deck, so I'm going to go ahead and try and do that. I'll probably, realistically, I probably cast that on like turn 4, but you know, there are going to be some games where I just get to cast that and win the game. And going along with that, we have Skull Clamp, Mystic Snake, Strip Mine, all good cards. Even Den Protector is pretty decent. How do I feel about Den Protector? Can get back some sweet cards. And the mana is definitely not a problem for us. Mystic Snake is also pretty good. I like having interaction in Mystic Snake, but double blue is maybe difficult to hit. You know, I'll go ahead and try it. I already have double blue cards in the deck. Hopefully our fixing is good enough. I think here I am going to take this Hinterland Harbor. It's not a forest, but it does help with our mana. Ooh, this could be a great splash. Mirari's Wake. Regrowth. I feel like either of these cards would be good. Our deck isn't completely a Regrowth deck, but it is a Mirari's Wake deck. And now that would make Arid Mesa good, as it would be a tricolor land. And Windswept Heath. Yeah, I think we can do Mirari's Wake. Ooh, you know, honk honk, here comes the cruise. It's just what this deck needed, was some card draw. Yeah, our deck is looking pretty good at this point. We are the 3-color Raphellos deck, but I think that we'll be able to play enough forests in our deck to warrant that anyway. I don't think we'll be playing this Villainous Wealth at this point. Now this Genesis Wave is just great because we get to Crater Hoof things. So I'm feeling pretty great about this deck, to be honest. Turnabout, I think that card is probably playable in our deck. We have Heartbeat Spring and Mirari's Wake. Yeah, I'll try a Turnabout. Maybe not the card I thought I was going to play, but it is a card. Pentad Prism, that's another good one. Helps us fix our mana for sure. I could also take Scrubland to go with Villainous Wealth. You know what? I'm going to put this Villainous Wealth back in. I think this card is just super powerful if you can ever make, like, even Villainous Wealth for probably like 7 or 8 is good enough. You know, I'll take a Dismember for the sideboard. So as we're looking, these are, well, this is not lands, but these are, yeah, this helps our, I don't think we'll ever need to do that. I guess I'll take it for the sideboard in case I do decide our mana's not good enough. And I can pick up an Abrupt Decay for the sideboard. Here I'm going to take Wrath of God, so someone else doesn't have it. Again, also for the sideboard, if we ever decide we need to bring it in. And I guess we have our outs of playing Lightning Helix as well, since we do have red in our deck. the old 5-color mono green blue deck. Alright, so as it stands, we're at 23 cards. Right? Yeah, 10 of these. Yeah, 23 cards. We need 7 lands. It's going to be, I think, mostly forests. And I might decide to cut some of the other lands for more forests, in fact. Let's sort by color. Let's get our tri-lands out here. We have Mox Diamond, we have Mana Crypt, we have Mox Jets, we have Gilded Lotus. So I don't think we're going to need anything like Temple of Malady. I'd rather that be a forest, even though the scry is useful. Or another island. It really depends what we need. Then we have our fetchable lands. We have our dual lands. Okay, so as it stands, Arid Mesa gets white, black, green, white, black, green. Yeah, so that's good enough. We're going to need to probably play at least 1 plains in the deck. Let's see what it recommends. 4 and 3. This would give us 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blue sources, which is, I think, the very bare minimum for what our deck needs. Honestly, it probably wants 8. Let me check out 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So it probably wants 8. We'll drop that down 1. This would give us how many forests in the deck? 5, 6, 7 essentially. If we needed it. We have another blue source. So yeah, I think we can make do with this. It would mean that our Arid Mesa only has 2 fetch land targets in our deck. So it would be awkward if we drew both of those and the Arid Mesa. But I think for the most part we'll be fine. This mana base is a little janky. And Raphelos isn't the Stone Cold. Oh, we're down a card. We have 14, 15, 16. Oh, we can add another land. I think I just want it to be another island. I'd love to have another forest in this deck, but I think having another island here will help our mana tremendously. So, we'll try that, and I'll see you in match 1.